What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. We're talking Showdown, Sunday Night Football. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, we're in the same room right now. You can't necessarily tell, but we did a Thursday night show together, and apparently Scottsdale has not gotten good internet. I don't understand. Or this place we're at is absolutely terrible because we couldn't get the show uploaded in time. So we're recording this a little bit earlier here on Sunday to get this up for Sunday night. We got Bills versus Chiefs. Ellie, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, dude. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this matchup. It's been a minute since I've been able to watch Josh Allen play against a good team.
Yeah.
And they finally got a decent primetime game going for us. So I'm looking forward to this one, dude. How you doing?
Not bad, man. We're not going to have... this is not going to be as long of a show. We're going to try to compact this a bit so we can upload it quick enough. Not going to have a lot of graphics. We're just going to get right into the meat of it. Ellie, would you mind pulling up injuries real quick while I'm talking about the total here?
Yep.
So, Buffalo at Kansas City. Looks like, as of right now, the weather could be a slight issue. Looks like rain/thunderstorms. So if we remember that New England game where Brady was going to New England, the weather was kind of a mess there. It kind of changed the way that game actually unfolded a little bit. So maybe there's a little bit of a slight more of a boost to the run game here in this game. But it's a 56.5 total. KC is -2.5 favorites at home. Buffalo plus 124 on the money line. I don't know. I think this is KC's get right week, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I am kind of hesitant to give too much credence to what the Bills have done so far. We all know that they're a very high-powered team, but beating down Houston and what do they play, the Jets? Like I don't even know some of these games that they've been involved in. They've won convincingly, but they haven't played anybody for real. And I think enough people have been questioning the Chiefs enough to fire them up a little bit. The one thing that's going to matter the most, I think, in this game is if the Bills' defensive line is going to be able to continue to put pressure on the Chiefs' offensive line. The Chiefs' line is not as good as it was. We saw in the Super Bowl, he was getting destroyed by the Tampa Bay, but it's not the same team, obviously. So that's something we're going to want to look out for, but. It's going to be a fun game, man. I don't know that Buffalo is quite ready for this.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Chiefs tonight for sure, and I think the good thing about this matchup is we know these teams pretty well. It's not like it's the Jets. It's not like some weird random team where we got to go super deep to figure out who some of these players are, some of these value picks are. We kind of just know right off the bat. So, do you see anything for injury-wise for this game worth noting?
I didn't have anything pop up on the tool.
I didn't see anything either. Yeah, I didn't see really anything.
Yeah, so it looks like we're good. Now, again, we all know Cole Beasley's status. I don't know if he finally went out and got vaccinated, so just keep an eye on any last-minute COVID protocols and the entire wide receiver room being moved out.
Yeah, so I think injuries-wise, there's nothing really to talk about, at least on the fantasy side of things. So let's just get right into the breakdown. All right, we're not gonna put Fantasy Cruncher up today. I've only got one monitor, so we're just gonna jump right into it. I'll read off salaries and everything you need to know. Patrick Mahomes is at $12K, and would you look at this? Josh Allen at $12.4K. Josh Allen is more expensive than Patrick Mahomes. What are we doing here? We got to get both these quarterbacks in this game, right? I mean, there's no. And if you wanted to fade one guy, who would it be?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know that I'm going to really be fading either. The only reason that I would is because I'm running a decent stack with Pat and a couple other guys, right? Or 4-2, where I don't necessarily need Allen. You maybe take Diggs and a running back, and then vice versa, right? With Patty, you might fade him so that you can take Allen and Diggs, and then Knox and a couple others. So just something to keep in mind. I'm going to have both guys in as many lineups as I can get.
There's a lot of expensive players in the slate. Kelsey is reasonably priced. I think he may be a good captain option because of his price. But honestly, I think this may be another situation where you got to go down to like Hardman or like a like a tight end or one of these wide receivers, like second or third string wide receivers, in order to fit Mahomes, Allen, and like at least one other stud. It's going to be a tough building. These kind of slates are tough. I personally would rather do like Bengals versus Jaguars because the pricing is all over the place and you can find a big edge with the backups. But it is what it is. This is the slate. Josh Allen at 12.4K. He's been doing fine. I mean, he did have that 40-point fantasy output against Washington week 3. And, I mean, honestly, he's only had one other game over 20 fantasy points this year. He's had 18, 17, 40, and 21. And then you look at Mahomes, he's been pretty consistent. His lowest output has been 24, right? So he's been crushing. For whatever reason, he's priced lower than Josh Allen in this matchup. I'll take Mahomes every day, in my opinion. I like both of them. But I think you're going to have to get creative in order to fit them in with studs. So let's move over to the running backs. Let's start with Buffalo. So Devin Singletary's at 5,200. Zach Moss is at 6,600. Zach Moss has been coming on lately. He was a healthy scratch week 1, and we all thought it was just because Zach Moss kind of just is not very good. But apparently I think it had something to do with family being sick or something like that. So that explains that. That also explains why he's getting a ton of carries now.
Right.
So with Devin Singletary at 5,200 and Zach Moss at 6,600, they're priced well. And like I said, this could be a rainy game. So who do we like out of these two guys? Any interest in like Breda at 200?
No, and my player pool doesn't even have Breda. We have Reggie Gilliam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, obviously the two guys are Moss and Singletary. I don't think either backups are going to get much more run. This is very much a 1-2 punch. And honestly, I think I'm going a little bit more Devin Singletary just because Zach Moss has that that price bump. But given their ownership projections, man, I think you're fine running either. I think both are in a decent position. Kansas City Chiefs defense is not very good, and one of the ways to beat them is keep their offense off the field. If you have a decent running game, you can you can keep Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill on the sideline, and that's really kind of what you want to do. So I'm with you, man. With the weather, I think this is a good opportunity to kind of get a little bit more leverage by going with some of these running backs from Buffalo.
Yeah, and if you look at Zach Moss here compared to Devin Singletary, right? So week 2 was when Zach Moss was first active. He only had 28% of the snaps, with Singletary at 66. And then it sort of flops week 3. It's more even. It's right around 50% each. And then now you start to see Zach Moss at like 59% and Singletary going out to 40% of the snaps. And another thing to mention too is last week Zach Moss got 14 rush attempts. Singletary only got 6. So, and also, you know, when it comes to targets, they're not really getting a lot of targets out of the backfield, but I would say Zach Moss is the guy that they would target out of the backfield if any of them. So I'm leaning more towards Zach Moss, but I think his ownership is going to reflect the fact that Singletary is trending down. So there's a total situation where Singletary could score 2 touchdowns in this game. I just don't know. It's kind of a weird situation. I don't mind handcuffing him either. I know there's a lot of good players on this slate. It's hard to like throw 2 positions away, but Moss and Singletary, I wouldn't mind that in a few lineups. All right, so anything to add, or do you want to move on to the other team?
No, man, we can move over to the other team.
So look, we got CEH. He's at 7,400, well priced. I know he's had some fumbling issues lately, but he's clearly the number 1 guy, and he actually has been getting in the end zone more lately. That used to be his issue, you know. He used to just not be able to punch it in. We got Darrell Williams at 3,600, which is a decent option. We're just not seeing a whole lot of volume to him, and then Jerick McKinnon at 200. It's always worth talking about these $200 guys as just a flyer. You know, you never know what, a couple receptions for those guys is all you really need. But when you look at the snap counts and everything, CEH is the clear guy. But, for example, Darrell Williams had 33% of the snaps last week. And he's pretty much right around 30 to 35% each week. So that makes Darrell Williams kind of interesting to me. He's running routes out of the backfield. Week 3, he ran 12 routes. Last week, he ran 5. So he's getting a little bit of action as a backup. I actually like Darrell Williams in this situation to kind of sprinkle in. But I think CH is a good option, especially at that price tag. I would even mind throwing him at captain quite a bit tonight at 7,400. Am I overthinking the CH thing here?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I have him in one of my season longs, and he's been doing all right despite some of the issues that he's been having. I mean, he is the guy, and I really just don't think Darrell Williams or literally anybody else on this team is going to take enough volume away for him to not kind of pay off at that price.
Yeah.
And especially at we're going to need some value captain. Everyone's going to jam in Tyree, Kelsey, Allen, and Mahomes and Diggs, right? Like, it's obvious who you're going with. So I think that his pricing makes him for a very unique captain play today.
And with the weather, I think if it really is going to be pouring rain, I think CEH at 7,400, man, that's a great option. Week 3, he had 20.9 fantasy points. Week 2, he had 22.4. He had no rushing touchdown. He has no rushing touchdowns this year, and still has managed to get 2 straight weeks of receiving touchdowns. So, only three targets here, 2 targets there. There's not really a lot of targets going his way. But if this game turns out to be slippery and slidey, he could be getting some dump-offs here in a few occasions. I like CH. I don't think he's going to be high-owned. Let's look at his captain ownership, actually, if I can even see that. Where's he at? Let's see. I think he's probably pretty low. Do you have anything on him? I don't even see him.
Let me see what we have over here.
Oh yeah, he's like the 7th or 8th highest owned guy. He's gonna be under 5% owned.
Yeah,
that might be the way to go, dude. Like, honestly, we'll start building here in a second with that, but that's really interesting. All right, let's move over to wide receivers. Obviously, we've got Tyreek Hill. He's at 10.4K. So you've got 2 quarterbacks over 12K, or at 12K and over 12K. You've got Tyreek Hill at 10.4K. This kind of reminds me, what game was it that we just did where everyone was freaking super high priced? What game was that? What was the Thursday night game? Was Seattle? Anyways.
Seattle, LA.
Anyways, we're going to be struggling to fit in both quarterbacks and a stud.
Right.
It's just going to be hard. Like it was the Cooper Kupp, Stafford, and Russell Wilson conundrum. We just couldn't fit all those guys together unless you got really crazy.
Right.
So in this case, I think you just have to be careful because we know Tyreek Hill can score you 40, 50 fantasy points like nothing. And he still has a relatively high floor. But for me, I think if you're looking at one stud from KC, I think I'm leaning more towards Kelsey just because of his price. And we got Mecole Hardman at 4,600. Now, I think Mecole Hardman's a good captain option this week. He hasn't really done much this year, but look, he does have one 10-point fantasy game and one 12-point fantasy game, and we know he can go off. We know he's the type of guy that can get those air yards and big targets. Demarcus Robinson, 3,200. Then you got Byron Pringle, and let's talk about Josh Gordon. So Josh Gordon's active. He's 1,800. Is it worth taking a risk on him at 1,800 in his very first game in, freaking 7 years or something? Like 5 years or something?
I don't know, man. 1,800 isn't terrible, and I haven't really seen anybody else that sticks out other than maybe Jerick McKinnon at $200. So, I don't know, man. We're gonna need somebody around that price range, and Josh Gordon is an explosive enough player to try out. So I guess the thing is we got to determine, is Josh Gordon gonna get more run over Byron Pringle,
Probably.
or is he gonna get more run than Demarcus Robinson? So I don't know. I don't know what he knows about the playbook. There's a good chance we could see him inactive too. So it's just something we gotta be really careful with.
Yeah, it's a straight up dart throw. They have him listed on the one side I'm looking at has him listed under Demarcus Robinson, which makes sense. I don't think they're going to replace Demarcus Robinson. I think they're just looking for a little bit more depth. And a guy I think a guy like Demarcus Robinson even is dangerous. He did score a touchdown 2 weeks ago. Any one of these guys scoring, even Byron Pringle scoring a touchdown, would not surprise me at all.
Right.
So if you can get this right, if you can, for me personally, what I might try to do this week is, it's super dangerous and risky, but I might try to just be under the field on Tyreek Hill, go heavier on Kelsey, and then mix in one or two of these guys along with Mahomes in the flex. And that might make you different enough, but still have a high ceiling. Because if Tyreek Hill doesn't go off, then Robinson, Pringle, Hardman, those guys are probably going to get the bulk of the reception. So, anything else to add here to these wide receivers on Casey?
Just the only thing is like Tyreek. We saw what happens when Tyreek Hill goes off last week. I think the game plan is going to go back to just shutting him down. We know what happens when Kelsey goes off, but it's not 100. It's not 220 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever it is. Like Kelsey has a little bit less of a ceiling than Tyreek, but given his price, it's just hard not to want to play him. Yeah,
well, and typically speaking, we always say this with KC games. It's like if you're doing cash, like I prefer Kelsey. If you're doing tournaments, Tyreek Hill is that guy that can get you 50 fantasy points. All right, so Buffalo here. Stephon Diggs is 8,800. That seems pretty criminal, and I'm glad that they priced him down a bit. I know he hasn't been like setting the world on fire, but last week against Houston, he did have 21 fantasy points, 114 yards, 10 targets. He's been getting the targets. If you look back to week 1, he's got 13 targets, 8 targets, 10, and 10. So he's been getting the volume, just maybe he hasn't been getting there with the touchdowns. So at 8,800, Stephon Diggs, I think he'll be a popular captain, but he's another guy that I would put at captain. I think he'll probably maybe the 4th highest owned captain, and I think it's worth trying at that price. You got Cole Beasley at 5,800, Emmanuel Sanders at 7K. He's been doing well lately. And then you got these outskirt guys like Gabriel Davis and Isaiah McKenzie. I think Gabriel Davis can absolutely score you a touchdown. I think Isaiah McKenzie can absolutely score you a touchdown in the run game as well. So we love a lot of these wide receivers, Ellie. I've been huge on Gabriel Davis for a while. He hasn't just really paid off as much. But look, the dude had a touchdown week 1. I don't know, man. When it comes to value, a guy at $1,000, I might be jamming him into almost every lineup.
I love Gabriel Davis. I always have. The only thing that's kind of taken away a little bit of his volume is just the Emmanuel Sanders being on the team. But again, at 1K, jeez, are you seeing his ownership way under 10%? I mean, dude, you don't even have to get crazy.
Wait a second.
Like you can triple or quadruple the field on that.
He's under 15%. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm showing him way low, right? So if you get 20% of him, you're not going to feel too terrible if he has a 0, and you're going to be 4 times or 3 or 4, 2 to 4 times over the field. So you're getting massive leverage with a play like that. And again, at $1,000, it's not, you're not really doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But this wide receiver core seems a little underpriced, especially for this game, right?
Yeah.
They've been playing games where they've been up pretty significantly. So I think that's what's impacted a lot of the Diggs and, some of these numbers, right, that we've been seeing from these wide receiver groups. But at a 56.5 point total, where do you think those touchdowns are going? Yeah. Josh Allen is not rushing for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right, so I definitely think that you need to have probably 2 of these pass catchers. The optimal build might end up being Mahomes, Kelsey, and then 4 Bills.
I think we should focus on 4 twos again this week, like you've been saying. So Stephon Diggs is typically speaking, pretty consistently for the season. Stephon Diggs and Emmanuel Sanders are pretty much equal in snap share. They're right around 81%. So they're on the field together pretty much all the time. Then you introduce Cole Beasley, and it looks like Cole Beasley last week, for whatever reason, he's a little bit down on snaps. He's usually around 67%. He's the clear number 3. But last week, Gabriel Davis started to sneak up closer to him with snap counts. When you look at routes run, nobody really ran a ton last week, but Gabriel Davis has not been running too many routes, which kind of worries me. Week 3, he ran 12. Last week, he ran 8. Week 1, he did get 26. But look, the bottom line here is I think you got to try out Gabriel Davis. I think you got to try out 1 or 2 with Isaiah McKenzie. We've seen those guys have touchdown upside. And at under $1,000 for those guys, we know they've scored touchdowns. A lot of times these $1,000 or less guys are just due to get in and you're hoping they get a random touchdown once a year. It's not the situation with Gabe Davis. I think he's the guy who can score you 2 touchdowns. We've seen it before. We've seen him score that much. So anyways, I think
I might run a lineup with him at captain, dude.
Yeah, me
because
too.
this is the slate that a guy like that can go off. Gabe Davis could be in a position. Again, it's a 57-point total. Like if he could end up with 2 touchdowns and 150 yards. Like that's a viable opportunity in this.
So let's move on to tight ends here. All right, so obviously Kelsey or Kels, whatever the hell you want to call him now, he's at 9,200. I mean, that's got to be one of the lowest we've seen Travis Kelce almost ever in Showdown. I mean, since I can remember. I mean, I'm going back week 5 last year. Last year he was 9,200, and then week 2, like so that's been his floor, 9,200. I don't think he deserves to be there right now. I know he hasn't been absolutely crushing it, but he did start off the year with 3 straight 20-plus fantasy point performances. He's getting targeted. He's a safe play, and I actually do like putting him at captain because of that price. You got Blake Bell at 200, Noah Gray at 400. Let's talk about Jody Forsen.
Well, hold on. Before we get too far off Kelsey, bro, where are you at with ownership on him? Are you under or over 40?
For captain or for
just general flex?
Under 40.
No, that's not right, bro. There's no way because I'm getting something similar on RG, but at that I'm gonna easily double the field, bro.
I'll be 80%.
That's dumb. Yeah. There's no reason why. Look, he should never be priced under probably 10-2, right? Yeah. I don't care if he's had 3 straight games of 0 points, right? He should not be ever priced this low. So
yeah.
I mean, this might be a weird slate where we would take a stand and say, I'm probably going to have 20% Tyreek Hill because I'm going heavy as hell on Kelsey.
I think everybody else is going to go heavy as hell on Tyreek Hill after that absolute giant performance, and I don't blame him. But is he going to – what are the chances of him doing that 2 weeks in a row? Relatively low. He can do it. It wouldn't surprise me. But I'd rather just focus in on a guy pricing like Kelsey.
Well, this is one of those things that we always talk about, too, where it's easier to try and pivot at a high-end player. Like, Tyreek Hill is not going to outscore Travis Kelce that consistently that he should be owned twice as much, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and I'm much more comfortable playing Kelce over Hill than I am playing Jody Forsen over whoever we were just talking, Gabriel Davis, right? So, like, those are the 1v1s that we're looking at when we're doing stuff like
look, let's talk about Jody Forsen. He has 2 straight weeks with a touchdown. This dude's a practice squad guy that's made the team. It's a good story. I'm rooting for the guy. At 1,400, they priced him up a little bit, but he's still reasonably priced. We've seen him score a touchdown each game. He's very touchdown dependent. If he doesn't score a touchdown, he's going to bust. But I think it's worth talking about Forsen. But also, I think now people are going to be keeping an eye on him. I think he kind of snuck around and was able to score on some of those goal line plays because no one's paying attention to him. So keep an eye on a guy like Blake Bell or Noah Gray or any of these backup dudes, these other guys that might actually be able to sneak in there and catch a touchdown. I don't think I'll have too much, but it's worth just mentioning. Maybe I'll have like 1 or 2 lineups with him. So when it comes to Buffalo, Dawson Knox at 6,200. He's an interesting captain option. He's scored a touchdown in 3 straight weeks. Last week he had 2 touchdowns. I think Dawson Knox is incredibly interesting, and we've seen how many points they've been scoring recently. I mean, week 2, 35 points. Week 3, 43. Week 4, 40. Dawson Knox is gonna get involved if they end up scoring over 35 points. 6,200. He's gonna be forgotten about with all the talent he's less than 15% owned. He's probably 2% owned the captain.
Yep.
I mean, don't you have to consider playing Dawson Knox? He's going to get forgotten about at that salary.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Again, like, I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over again, but we didn't really see any line movement or movement on the total when we saw the weather, right? So if it's still sitting at 56.5, like, this is a game where we might be better off prioritizing both quarterbacks so we can soak up what they're projecting for. Like, apparently it's going to be one of the highest offensive powered games we've ever had, right? So take both the quarterbacks and then play these random dudes who are getting slept on. Like, Dawson Knox has been doing okay, and they don't really have anybody else to back them up, do they? Like, let's see, who are these guys?
Tommy Sweeney at $200. He had 2 targets in week 3.
Oh, that's it. That's literally the only active tight end that they might have. So, I mean, I'm all for it, man. I like him. I think he's in a great spot.
And one thing to think about here is if you're going to play guys like Dawson Knox, if you're going to play guys like Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie and Byron Pringle, you can be chalky at captain. You know, you can put in Hill, you can put in Mahomes. If you're going to punt on 2 positions like that, you'll still be okay. Maybe you'll split with 3 or 4 people as opposed to 200 people.
Right.
I'm just not going to play any Mahomes and Josh Allen at captain. That's just not usually what I like to do. I like to go 1 or 2 steps below that. Tyler Bass, 4,200. These are expensive kickers this week. Harrison Butker, 4,000. Same shit, different week. Sure, why not? If this is a rainy ass game, I don't think that they're going to be kicking field goals on 4th and 3. So in my opinion, I'm going to go under the field as usual, but I'm not going to have 0.
So the note that I'm seeing here is rain will be increasingly likely in the second half.
Okay.
So as this game becomes more competitive, you might see that they're not risking it.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on this one. Like, I'm just going to be leaning more towards not playing kickers.
These are good kickers though.
Yeah.
Like Tyler Bass he scored over 11 fantasy points 3 times already this year. Butker has not had as good of a year. He scored double digits only once, and the rest has been pretty low. But I mean, look, it's Kansas City. Like they're gonna score 4 or 5 touchdowns potentially, or more, and maybe he gets 5 extra points. So let's move over to defense. With the rain here, typically we would just skip right over this on a 56.5 point total. But with the rain, you got the Chiefs with Tyrann Mathieu. You've got some great players pretty much on both ends. Can we consider playing a little bit of these defenses with the weird weather as well as, hey, man, like all it takes is 1 fumble recovery in the rain for a touchdown to change everything?
Yeah, if we were looking at 2 different teams, then yeah. The problem is like there's going to be so much scoring, and it's probably going to be widely distributed that you're going to have a player probably close to one of these prices that is going to be closer to 10, 11 points. So unless you really think that the Bills or Chiefs defense is going to end up with a minimum of 10 fantasy points when this game is over, I don't think it's too viable a solution. Yeah. Now, let's not... Like, here's the thing, right? We don't know how good the Bills' defense is. It is very possible that they earned their shutouts, right?
Yeah,
so they could be the real deal. Mm-hmm. So if you think so, like at $3K, I don't hate it. And we also saw Tyrann Mathieu with a pick 6 the other day. So
first play of the game, I think it was.
Yeah. So again, like I think you kind of just got to go with your gut here and build very specific game script, which is that's like a pre-recorded answer. We should just play for defense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think defenses are in play because they're going to be super low owned. I would, although, prefer to go down to some of these $1,000 guys or something like that as opposed to being right in the middle here. All right, so we're going to move over to our fades. Now, I don't have a graphic or anything set up for this, but Ellie, do you want to talk about some of the guys that you'd be willing to kind of be under the field or kind of fade in a lot of your tournament lineups?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that the first guy that's sticking out to me really is just Tyreek Hill. Yeah. And I'm not intentionally, well, I guess I kind of am intentionally fading him. But when I say fade, I'm looking to get probably half exposure to the field. Travis Kelce just shouldn't be less than 40%, and he shouldn't be less than 10K.
Yeah.
So, like, one of those things needs to change. If he's going to be less than 40%, he needs to be 11K or something like that. But at 9,200 and at sub 40% projections, he's just in too much of a prime spot for me. I'm going to play a lot of him.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, dude. I'm going to agree with you with Tyreek Hill. Like, it's scary to talk about, but, if you look at his output this season, he had 50 fantasy points, then he had 10, then he had 5, then he had 40. He's up and down, and I know he's the guy that'll break a slate, but I'm kind of betting on the fact that, look, we have to choose one guy that we can't play as much. And if I'm going to only play, if I'm going to be right in the middle, and be under the field, I feel like I should just not play him.
Right. if
you're going to have him in your lineup, he's going to be super popular. You're going to have so many different combinations with him in order to hit something big. I'd rather just go only 1 or 2 lineups, put him in a single entry or something, and hedge a little bit or bet some props on him or something. But I'm just going to go under the field on Tyreek Hill. That's just me. I don't if you have a sensitive heart, I would recommend maybe not doing that, but that's what I'm doing. All right, so when it comes to captain, no graphic, but let's hit the sound.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
All right, so we're crowning their ass. I'm going to have to go with... You go first.
I mean, I kind of got a list since we don't have a graphic. Depending on... I guess I would rank Clyde Edwards-Helaire at first, just given his pricing. Yeah. But after that, I really need to understand where Travis Kelce's coming in with captain ownership. So I just want to see where he gets closer to lock. Because, I don't know, man. It's just going to be hard. Given that price, you're going to have some flexibility still where you wouldn't normally have with maybe, Tyreek Hill at the captain. So those are pretty much the two guys that I'm looking forward to. And then, if we're doing, a deep dart throw, I don't mind taking a stab on Gabriel Davis. This is a good opportunity for him. And, I think you can stack a lot of pretty decent players by doing that.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, let's build a lineup real quick here. We're going to try to wrap this up as soon as possible, get this uploaded. So let's just look at just your opto. So we've got Diggs at captain, Gabe Davis, Pringle, Hill, Mahomes, and Allen. I don't hate this, but you got to put Gabe Davis and Byron Pringle in the same lineup. I don't love that. That's just kind of buying a lottery ticket, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's just not even mess around. Let's get into CEH at captain and see if it's even worth it. Because I don't think he has a super high ceiling, but at that price tag, we might be able to fit everybody we want in there. So let's do both quarterbacks. That leaves us with $14K for 3 spots. Now we got to go Kelce.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got to jump to the other side. It only leaves us with $5,300. So when it comes to Buffalo, that really sucks. We can punt on the last position, and we can get a guy honestly, we can get a guy like Zach Moss at $6,600. No, we can't. Never mind. We could get Devin Singletary. No, we can't. Never mind.
Well, here, bro. Go. How about this? Go Gabriel Davis, and then I know we kind of just talked about it, but I don't mind. Seabass after that.
43. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. I don't hate that. So CEH, Allen, Mahomes, Kelce, Gabe Davis, and kick his ass Seabass. Not bad. We could fit both quarterbacks and a stud in with CEH. So let's try to mix this up though. Let's see if we can go a little bit higher and then punt at one position. So let's aim for, instead of getting kicker, what's the lowest you'd want to go? Would you go down to Pringle or McKenzie at 200?
I'm fine with Pringle. I don't know about McKenzie at this point. He just doesn't seem like he's getting the volume anymore.
No, he's just in the special teams. What about a guy like DeMarcus Robinson at 3.2K?
Yeah, I don't mind DeMarcus
Let's pop him in. That leaves us with 2,100 remaining in that last spot. What does that get us? That gets us Josh Gordon. That gets us Jody Forsen. That gets us Gabe Davis. Any of those guys. I'm more leaning towards not getting a lot of Gordon this week, just because he's unknown at this point. But they signed him for a reason. They're going to want to get him on the field.
Right.
Right now, we're looking at a 4-1, so I'd probably want to get a guy like Gabe Davis in this lineup. Josh Allen and Gabe Davis, super heavy on Chiefs. Let's get rid of Robinson. Let's go with, what is that? We have 5,300. Can we get the tight end? No, Dawson Knox. I don't know, dude. I think we should get away from CEH and go low.
Yeah, let's try. You want to try Dawson Knox?
Yeah, I like Dawson Knox at captain, man. I know the ceiling isn't necessarily there, but dude scored 2 touchdowns. He scored 3 straight weeks of touchdowns. So let's get both quarterbacks. I think that's going to be kind of the default here. We still like CEH. But do you want to do a Tyreek or do you want to do a Kelce?
Let's start with Kelce.
All right, let's do Kelce. That leaves us with 7,100 for 2 spots. So we could go to Gabe Davis and then go get a guy around like 6K or something, or we can just spread it out and be more middle of the road. Is there anybody up in that 6K range that's interesting? There is Zach Moss at 6,600. We'd have to do it. We'd have to do like a McKenzie or like a somebody super down there, like Noah Gray or something.
Well, what happens if we throw in Cole Beasley?
That leaves us with 1,300, so we can get Gabe Davis, Byron Pringle, all those kind of guys.
Yeah, I don't hate that either.
So right now, this is a 4-2. We got Dawson Knox, Josh Allen, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis with Mahomes and Kelsey run back. I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, that's not a terrible.
Although I would probably switch out Gabe Davis. I do one with Gabe Davis and I do one with Byron Pringle.
Yeah.
So Knox is not bad. Let's get crazy, dude. Let's go down to. Do you want to go all the way down to Gabe Davis at captain?
Let's do it.
Let's see if it's even worth it. 1.5K in salary spent. Now, I mean, we can load up, dude. Let's do both quarterbacks. Let's do Hill. We haven't even used Stephon Diggs yet.
Right.
I mean, so let's do Diggs, and it still leaves us 4,900. That gets us Mecole Hardman. That gets us Tyler Bass. I like this. So that we got Gabe Davis at captain, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and then run it back with Mahomes, Hill, and Hardman.
Yeah, I like that too, dude.
That's what I'm talking about. If you get a touchdown and you get 4 receptions out of Gabe Davis, and as long as you nail these studs, you're gonna be feeling pretty good. So I think I'm gonna be leaning more towards lower end guys on this matchup, just because I just can't fade both. I want to have both quarterbacks in every lineup, and I want to have at least Hill or Kelsey.
Do you still have the Gabe Davis lineup up?
Yeah, it's up.
All right, swap off Hill and go down to Kelsey.
Okay.
And then go from who was the dude we had?
We have
Hardman.
We have Hardman. Yeah.
You can come up to Beasley.
Okay, Beasley. Yeah, hey, that's not bad. There you go.
4-2, but
Diggs, Beasley, and Gabe Davis along with Josh Allen. There you go. Pass attacks. This is pass heavy, obviously. All right, do you want to do any more?
I don't know, man. I think I'm good on this one.
Let's put Mahomes at captain and just and crunch it and see what happens. See what kind of lineups it's spitting out. So Pringle, Bass, Beasley, Diggs, and Allen. No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't like that at all.
I mean, this is why I don't want to build with Mahomes at captain. It's just not. I don't know. I'm not into it. I honestly, if you're playing cash, feel free to. Personally, I'd rather go Kelsey at cash or single entry captain. I think you're just gonna feel a lot better about yourself by doing that. All right, dude. I think we're good on this one, man. We're coming in at under 40 minutes. Let's get this uploaded for the people. Let's give your predictions here, man. Who's going to be the guy the low owned guy that breaks out and scores a touchdown?
I'm gonna go with Gabriel Davis, man. I just like him.
Yeah, I think Dawson Knox, which is not really like a bold take, but he's going to be super low owned. I think he's one of the guys that can go off. Also, don't be surprised to see one of these Kansas City backup tight ends that's not Jody Forsen get an opportunity in the red zone. That's probably my bold take. So final score prediction here.
I'm going to go 41-35 Kansas City.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to go 24-21. I'm going to say the rain is going to have a little bit of an effect on things. 24-21 Kansas City. I don't think that Buffalo's going to win this one. That's just my opinion. All right, guys. So we're going to see you guys for Monday Night Football. We're going to record that here in a minute. Get that up for you guys probably tonight after the Sunday night game, hopefully. Hit us up in the Discord, like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot.